Hey, what is good everyone? Today I'm going to be giving you a quick review on the CommSec Pocket app because there's not really too much YouTube videos on it. I've been using it for about 5 months and only have around $3,500 invested in it. For the pure fact, I'm keeping most of my money in cash because I think the market's definitely probably going to crash in the next 2 years. Probably hasn't crashed in a while. And with all the speculated hyperinflation around the US, I don't think this bull market would continue for too much longer, but what do I know? So this review is mainly just going to be about the app itself and the fees involved in the stocks or ETFs that we're going to be talking about, because I don't really know what to invest into. That's why I use the app, okay? That's kind of the ease of use. Just invest into absolutely everything so that you get the absolute average in the market, which is probably going to be higher than what you'd get if you decided to try trade individual stocks and you're not 100% sure what you're really doing. So the CommSec Pocket app looks like this, as you can see on screen. It's a super simple, easy interface to use. I like how it just has the amount of money that you've invested, and then it has how much you're up, how much you're down, and then you can go scroll down and see how much money you have in each individual ETF. Now, before we dive into the actual options that the app gives you to invest in, the app does kind of charge a decent amount in fees, because each ETF has a 0.7 to 0.35% yearly fee. Let's say if you invested in all the stocks individually, somehow you had that much money, you'd be making 0.7% to 0.35% less yearly. When you're in the app, you actually just have to click on more options about this ETF to actually find the fee percentage, because they all are very different. But for example, Aussie Top 200 and Aussie Dividends both have around a 0.35% fee yearly, but I believe either emerging markets or sustainability leaders has something like a 0.75% fee yearly. So the fees do vary between ETF because they are owned by different companies. The yearly fee actually just comes out of the value of the stock every single year, or the value of the ETF. So you're actually not paying the fees or anything. It just comes out of the ETF's value. So I'm not quite sure how that works, but pretty much you don't have to worry about it. It just means your stocks or your ETFs aren't going to appreciate as much as the individual stocks would, because the ETF is just taking out money to run the company. Comparing this to other ETFs, apparently the average is supposed to be like 0.75 to 0.5%. So this is really on par, if most of the Australian ETFs are actually lower than the average, which is obviously a good thing. And on top of that small percentage fee you pay, every time you want to buy new stocks, you have to pay, or new ETFs, you have to pay a $2 fee, but that fee doesn't increase depending on how much you want to buy. So if you want to buy 8 shares of Global 100, it's going to cost you $2. If you want to buy 4, it's going to cost you $2. If you want to buy 100, it's going to cost you $2. Which means that if you are going to invest in ETFs, I'd recommend you just putting a bunch in one. I only really just figured this out more recently, so I kind of got screwed doing this, so learn from my mistakes. When you don't invest, just put a lot more money in one. Save you some fees instead of just going $2 here, $2 here, $2 here, because if you're paying those small amounts, then $2 might actually end up being a bit if you continue to invest, and it would definitely eat away at some of those profits. Now, talking about the ETFs that you can actually invest in, you have the Aussie Top 200, a simple low-cost way to invest around the 200 biggest companies of the ASX, including the blue chip stocks. That's directly from their website. This is a pretty good option because if you're investing in the international stocks, they might on average appreciate more in value, but at the time of you cashing out, you also have currency fluctuation risks on top of that. So the Aussie Top 200 is really good. Also, it has a much higher dividend than like the Global 100. I believe it's around like 2 or 3%. I haven't checked. That dividend return is always changing, so when you actually invest, just click more about this ETF to find that. Then you have the Aussie dividend stock, which right now is giving you about 5% dividends. Also, I'm not going to be talking about how much they've gone up in the past. You can look into that if you want, but past performance isn't an indication on future performance, so I really wouldn't worry about it too much. Just invest in what you believe in. But Aussie Dividends is apparently the 30 plus stocks in Australia that are known for giving the highest dividends, so it's another safe investment. Then you've got your Global 100, which is 100 blue chip stocks. Looking at the past performance of this, I know I said I wouldn't talk about it, but it's just going really well. It's the top Global 100, top 100 stocks. So if you invest in everything, you're kind of really diversified, as you'll see. And then we've got emerging markets, which is 800 plus companies in fast growing economies like China, Taiwan, Korea, India, and more. So again, it's kind of a more risky investment, but again, it's so many companies that you kind of fairly risk diverse because you're so diversified. Inside the ETF, you probably don't have some stocks that are up 1,000,000%. You don't have others that are down 1,000,000%. So it's gonna even out to a fairly average market return. But the good thing about investing in everything is that, you know, if the US market's really high up, but emerging markets are really high down, you get an average return. If the emerging markets are really high up, but the US market and global markets, Australian markets are really low down, then you get an average return. Then you've got health-wise, invest in medical innovation with around 100 companies that strive to help us live longer, healthier lives. Again, just more diversification in other types of companies. You have sustainability leaders, get exposure to around 200 leading sustainable, ethical companies so that you can invest confidently. Again, with these stocks, probably don't get a fairly average return. Some of these companies will go up really high, some of these companies will go down really low, but you know, get a fairly average return, and you're helping the world out by investing in good things. And then you have the tech savvy ETF, which is 100 of the biggest tech innovators, non-financial companies on the NASDAQ, which again is some of the riskier companies that some are going to go up really high, some are going to go really low, but it's really just going to balance out and give you a fairly average return, just depending on what the tech market does. Quick edit on the voiceover. I was talking about how they don't give you an average return, and in the future they may continue to give an average return, but right now in the past 3 years, both the tech savvy and the sustainability leaders have both been going up like 20 to 25% each year, which is clearly not average. But again, that's not something that you should project that it will continue to do in the future unless you believe that. So reading straight off their website, what are the benefits? It's easy to start, super simple. Okay, like it's not complicated like CommSec is or anything else. You just click on the ETF, buy. You don't need really any knowledge. You're just investing in some super long-term type stuff. Again, it's super simple choices that really don't keep you super diversified. Allows you to invest regularly, fairly simply. It's really well integrated with your CommSec app, so everything's just really simple, man. I kind of really like the app. I think it is very good. Obviously, I want to get into more individual stocks as well, but I think this is a good start for anyone that just wants like a solid pool of money that's just gonna compound interest for like the next 40 years or whatever. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe. I really do appreciate it. It is a nice app. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you're already with CommSec, I recommend you just download it, see if you want to put some money into it. It's like a nice savings account pretty much, that's gonna give you a good return. Generally, I don't know, not financial advice. Let me know what your other alternatives are in the comment section down below, and I'm out. See ya.